The fact that we live in a world of such incredible abundance, yet so many walk through life in scarcity. Financial scarcity, emotional scarcity, spiritual scarcity. And I've got to ask the question that's been haunting me for years, why? Why in a world of such magnificent opportunity do so many settle for so little? The answer, I believe, lies not in our circumstances, but in ourselves. It's not what happens to us that determines our destiny. It's what we do about what happens. I learned a long time ago that if you want your life to change, you've got to change. If you want things to get better, you've got to get better. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. Now let me share something profound with you. There are only a handful of ways to be rich, but 1,000 ways to be poor. Being poor is easy. You don't have to have a plan to be poor. You don't have to attend seminars on how to be poor. You don't have to read books on the subject. All you have to do is nothing, and poverty will find you. But wealth requires a plan. Wealth requires discipline. Wealth requires consistent, intentional effort. And above all, wealth requires a philosophy, a way of thinking that attracts abundance rather than scarcity. I was once asked, Mr. Rohn, how do you build wealth? And I said, it's simple. You find a way to serve many. That's the magic formula. Find a way to serve many and the money will follow. The marketplace rewards value, and the more value you provide, the more wealth you'll attract. But here's what most people miss. The path to wealth isn't about making money, it's about becoming valuable. Let me say that again. The path to wealth isn't about making money, it's about becoming valuable. Money is the byproduct of value. If you want more money, create more value. It's that simple and it's that profound. I remember a young man who came to one of my seminars years ago. He was broke, discouraged, and looking for answers. I asked him, what are you currently doing to increase your value in the marketplace? He looked at me blankly and said, I don't know what you mean. I said, how many books did you read last year? He said, none. I said, how many seminars did you attend? He said, none. I said, how many new skills did you develop? He said, none. And then it hit him. He wasn't investing in himself. He wasn't becoming more valuable. And until he changed that, his income wouldn't change. Fast forward 5 years, and this same young man was earning 10 times what he was before. Why? Because he started investing in himself. He became a reader. He became a student. He became intentional about personal growth. And as he grew, his income grew. You see, we don't get paid for the time we put in. We get paid for the value we bring to that time. If you want to earn more, become more. It's one of the great laws of the universe. Now let's talk about happiness. What's fascinating to me is that so many people chase wealth thinking it will bring them happiness, only to discover that wealth without happiness is a hollow victory. And here's the irony. The same principles that create wealth also create happiness. They're two sides of the same coin. Happiness, like wealth, doesn't come from what you have. It comes from what you become. It doesn't come from your possessions. It comes from your progress. It doesn't come from your achievements. It comes from your growth. I've met people with very little who were profoundly happy, and people with a fortune who were miserable. The difference wasn't in their bank accounts. It was in their philosophy, their way of looking at life and responding to its challenges. Here's something to think about. Happiness is not an accident. It's a choice. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you create. And the way you create it is by taking responsibility for your life, by refusing to blame others for your circumstances, and by focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't. You know what's interesting? The ancient Greeks had two different words for happiness. One was hedonia, which referred to pleasure or momentary joy. The other was eudaimonia, which referred to a deeper sense of well-being and fulfillment. And guess what? The research shows that pursuing eudaimonia leads to more lasting happiness than pursuing hedonia. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that pursuing meaningful goals, developing strong relationships, contributing to others, and growing as a person will bring you more happiness than pursuing pleasure, entertainment, or material possessions. It's not that there's anything wrong with enjoying life's pleasures. It's just that they're the icing on the cake, not the cake itself. I remember talking to a gentleman who had achieved remarkable financial success. He had the house, the cars, the vacation homes, all the trappings of wealth, but he wasn't happy. I asked him, what's missing? He thought for a moment and said, purpose. I've achieved everything I set out to achieve, but I don't know why I achieved it. That's profound. Without purpose, success can feel empty. Without meaning, achievement can feel hollow. The secret is to pursue wealth and happiness not as ends in themselves, but as means to a greater end, the end of becoming all you're capable of becoming and contributing all you're capable of contributing. So let's talk about some specific strategies for creating both wealth and happiness in your life. First, develop a philosophy of life that serves you. Your philosophy determines your attitude. Your attitude determines your actions. Your actions determine your results. And your results determine your lifestyle. It all starts with philosophy. What do you believe about wealth? What do you believe about happiness? What do you believe about yourself? I've found that successful people have a philosophy of responsibility. They don't blame circumstances, they take charge of their lives. They don't wait for opportunity, they create it. They don't expect things to be given to them, they work for what they want. And most importantly, they understand that the key to having more is becoming more. Second, set specific measurable goals. Goals are the compass that keeps you moving in the right direction. Without goals, you're like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever the currents take you. But with clear, compelling goals, you create momentum and direction in your life. I recommend setting goals in 7 key areas: financial, physical, spiritual, family, social, career, and intellectual. When you set and pursue goals in each of these areas, you create a balanced, fulfilling life. You don't become the person who's financially successful, but physically unhealthy, or successful in business, but a failure at home. Third, develop the discipline of consistent action. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's not enough to know what to do, you must do what you know. And doing it once or twice isn't enough. Success is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. It's not something that happens all at once. It's the result of small, consistent actions performed day after day. I often tell people that there are 2 pains in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The difference is that discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Choose the pain of discipline because it leads to a life of wealth and happiness. Choose the pain of regret, and you choose a life of what could have been and if only. Fourth, invest in yourself. The most valuable asset you'll ever have is your mind. Develop it, stretch it, challenge it. Feed it with books, seminars, audio programs, and meaningful conversations. The greatest investment you can make is the investment in yourself, because the return on that investment will last a lifetime. I'm often asked, how much should I invest in personal development? And my answer is simple: as much as you can. If you can afford to attend 1 seminar this year, attend 1. If you can afford to attend 10, attend 10. If you can read 1 book a month, read 1. If you can read 1 a week, read 1 a week. The point is to make personal growth a priority, not an afterthought. Fifth, surround yourself with the right people. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to be wealthy and happy, spend time with people who are wealthy and happy. If you want to be successful, spend time with people who are successful. Your associations will have a profound impact on your life, so choose them wisely. I remember a young woman who came to me for advice. She was struggling financially and couldn't figure out why. As we talked, I discovered that everyone in her social circle was also struggling financially. They spent their time complaining about the economy, blaming the government, and reinforcing each other's limiting beliefs. I suggested that she start seeking out people who were financially successful and learn from them. It wasn't easy for her to change her associations, but when she did, her financial situation began to change as well. 6, give more than you take. The marketplace rewards value, and the more value you give, the more you'll receive in return. This principle applies not just to business, but to every area of life. In your relationships, give more love than you expect to receive. In your career, give more effort than you're paid for. In your community, give more service than is expected. I learned a long time ago that the secret to living is giving. It's not what you get that makes life worthwhile. It's what you become in the process of giving. And here's the fascinating paradox. The more you give, the more you receive. Not because you give in order to receive, but because giving puts you in harmony with the abundance of the universe. 7th, learn the art of gratitude. Wealth and happiness both begin with appreciation for what you already have. If you can't be happy with what you have now, you won't be happy with what you get in the future. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. It's a way of looking at the world that transforms your experience of life. I make it a practice to start each day by listing 5 things I'm grateful for. Some days it's easy and some days it's challenging. But I've found that regardless of what's happening in my life, there's always something to be grateful for. And when I focus on gratitude, my whole day changes. 8th, take full responsibility for your life. This is perhaps the most important principle of all. Until you accept complete responsibility for your life, you can't change it. As long as you're blaming others or circumstances for your problems, you're giving away your power. But when you accept responsibility, you take back your power to create the life you want. I remember talking to a gentleman who was going through a difficult time. He had lost his job, his marriage was in trouble, and he was facing financial hardship. As we talked, he kept focusing on all the things that had happened to him. I gently suggested that he start focusing on what he could do about his situation. It wasn't easy for him to shift his perspective, but when he did, everything began to change. He started taking action instead of making excuses. He started creating solutions instead of dwelling on problems. And within a year, his life had completely turned around. Ninth, embrace failure as a stepping stone to success. Every successful person has experienced failure. What sets them apart is not the absence of failure, but their response to it. They don't see failure as final, they see it as feedback. They don't see failure as fatal, they see it as a lesson. They don't see failure as defining them, they see it as refining them. I've failed many times in my life. I've made poor investments. I've launched products that didn't sell. I've given speeches that fell flat. But each failure taught me something valuable. Each setback contained the seeds of a comeback, and each disappointment led to a new opportunity. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try. Be afraid to live so cautiously that you never know the thrill of achievement or the satisfaction of growth. Remember, failure isn't falling down, it's staying down. As long as you get back up, you're still in the game. 10th, develop a sense of urgency. Life is short and time is our most precious resource. Don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Don't wait for the perfect time to start pursuing your dreams. The perfect time is now. The perfect place is here. The perfect person is you. I meet so many people who are waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for more education, waiting for someone to help them, waiting for inspiration. But while they're waiting, life is passing them by. Don't be one of those people. Start now with what you have, where you are. Now let's talk about some specific strategies for building wealth. Because while wealth isn't just about money, money is an important part of the equation. And the principles of wealth creation are simple, though not always easy to apply. The first principle is to spend less than you earn. This sounds so basic, but it's amazing how many people violate this fundamental rule of wealth. They earn $50,000 and spend $55,000. They earn $100,000 and spend $120,000. And then they wonder why they're always struggling financially. Living below your means requires discipline, but it's the foundation of financial freedom. It doesn't matter how much you earn if you spend it all or more than all. I know people who earn six figures and are broke, and people who earn modest incomes and are financially secure. The difference isn't in how much they make, it's in how much they keep. The second principle is to save and invest wisely. It's not enough to spend less than you earn. You also need to put the difference to work for you. Save for emergencies, save for opportunities, and save for financial independence. Then invest those savings in assets that appreciate in value or generate income. I recommend saving at least 10% of your income, and more if you can. Start with an emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Then begin investing in a diversified portfolio of assets that align with your financial goals and risk tolerance. Remember, it's not how much money you make that determines your financial future. It's how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. Most people work for their money. The wealthy make their money work for them. The third principle is to increase your earning capacity. While controlling your spending is important, there's a limit to how much you can cut back. But there's no limit to how much you can earn if you're willing to develop the necessary skills and mindset. There are several ways to increase your earning capacity. You can become more valuable in your current career by acquiring new skills, taking on additional responsibilities, or becoming more productive. You can start a side business to generate additional income. You can invest in assets that produce passive income. Or you can create something, a product, a service, a system that delivers value to many people. The key is to focus on creating value. The marketplace doesn't reward activity, it rewards results. It doesn't reward time, it rewards value. Find ways to create more value, and your income will naturally increase. The fourth principle is to protect your wealth. It's not just about making money, it's also about keeping it. That means having appropriate insurance, a valid will or trust, and a strategy for minimizing taxes. It means being careful about who you do business with and avoiding investments you don't understand. I've seen too many people work hard to build wealth only to lose it through poor planning, excessive risk-taking, or neglect. Don't make that mistake. Protect what you've worked so hard to build. The fifth principle is to enjoy your wealth. Money is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. The purpose of building wealth is not to die with the most toys or the biggest bank account. It's to live a life of freedom, contribution, and fulfillment. Use your wealth to create experiences, to help others, to pursue your passions, and to leave a legacy. Money that's never enjoyed or shared is wasted, no matter how much of it you accumulate. Now, let's turn our attention to happiness, because wealth without happiness is like a beautiful car. Without an engine, it looks good, but it won't take you anywhere. The first principle of happiness is to focus on what you can control. So much unhappiness comes from worrying about things that are outside our control. We worry about the economy, the weather, other people's opinions, past mistakes, future uncertainties, all things we can't change. But happiness comes from focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions, and our responses to whatever life throws our way. I found that the happiest people aren't those with the fewest problems, they're those with the best strategies for dealing with problems. They understand that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can control how they respond. And that makes all the difference. The second principle of happiness is to cultivate strong relationships. Study after study shows that the quality of our relationships is the single biggest predictor of our happiness. Not wealth, not fame, not beauty, not achievement, relationships. Invest time and energy in the people you care about. Be fully present when you're with them. Listen more than you talk. Show appreciation. Forgive quickly. Love unconditionally. These simple practices can transform your relationships and by extension your happiness. The third principle of happiness is to find meaning and purpose in what you do. We all need to feel that our lives matter, that we're making a difference, that we're contributing something of value. Without that sense of purpose, even the greatest achievements feel hollow. What's your purpose? What contribution are you here to make? What difference do you want your life to make? These aren't easy questions, but they're essential ones, and the answers will guide you toward greater happiness and fulfillment. The fourth principle of happiness is to take care of your physical health. It's hard to be happy when you're sick, tired, or in pain. Exercise regularly, eat nutritious foods, get enough sleep, and manage stress effectively. Your body and mind are interconnected, and taking care of one helps the other. I make it a practice to exercise every day, not just for the physical benefits, but for the mental and emotional benefits as well. Exercise reduces stress, improves mood, increases energy, and enhances cognitive function. It's one of the best investments you can make in your overall well-being. The fifth principle of happiness is to practice mindfulness, being fully present in the moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. So much of our unhappiness comes from regrets about what's already happened or anxiety about what might happen. But happiness is found in the present moment. Try this simple practice several times a day. Pause and take 3 deep breaths. As you breathe, focus fully on the present moment, the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. This simple act of mindfulness can bring you back to the present and increase your happiness. The sixth principle of happiness is to embrace challenges and grow from them. Happiness doesn't come from avoiding difficulties. It comes from overcoming them. It comes from pushing beyond your comfort zone, developing new skills, and becoming more of who you're capable of being. Don't shy away from challenges. Embrace them as opportunities for growth. Remember, the obstacle is the way. The difficulty is the opportunity. The challenge is the chance to become more. The seventh principle of happiness is to practice gratitude daily. I mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating because it's so powerful. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what's missing to what's present, from scarcity to abundance. No matter what's happening in your life, there's always something to be grateful for. Make it a practice to identify and express gratitude for the blessings in your life, big and small. It will transform your experience of life. The eighth principle of happiness is to give to others. There's a direct connection between giving and happiness. When we give, whether it's our time, our talents, our resources, or our love, we experience what psychologists call a helper's high. We feel good about ourselves and our place in the world. Find ways to give that align with your values and strengths. Volunteer for a cause you believe in. Mentor someone who could benefit from your experience. Donate to organizations that are making a difference. Or simply perform random acts of kindness in your daily life. The opportunities to give are endless, and each one is an opportunity for greater happiness. The ninth principle of happiness is to cultivate optimism. Optimism isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about believing in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It's about seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. It's about expecting good things to happen, even if they haven't happened yet. Research shows that optimists are happier, healthier, and more successful than pessimists. They live longer, recover from illness faster, and are more resilient in the face of adversity. The good news is that optimism is a skill that can be developed, not just a trait you're born with. By challenging negative thoughts, focusing on solutions rather than problems, and surrounding yourself with positive people, you can become more optimistic over time. The 10th principle of happiness is to live in alignment with your values. When your actions are congruent with your deepest values and beliefs, you experience a sense of integrity and authenticity that is essential to happiness. But when you're living out of alignment with your values, you experience inner conflict and dissatisfaction. No matter how successful you appear on the outside, what are your core values? What principles do you want to live by? What matters most to you? Clarify your values, then make decisions that honor them. It won't always be easy, but it will lead to greater happiness and peace of mind. Now, let's bring these principles together and talk about how wealth and happiness intersect. Because while they're often pursued separately, they're most powerful when they're aligned. First, use your wealth to buy time, not just things. One of the greatest benefits of financial success is the freedom it gives you to spend your time on what matters most to you. Use that freedom wisely. Don't become so consumed with making money that you have no time to enjoy it or to pursue the activities that bring you genuine happiness. Second, use your wealth to invest in experiences rather than possessions. Research consistently shows that experiences, travel, concerts, learning new skills, time with loved ones bring more lasting happiness than material possessions. Yes, nice things can bring pleasure, but that pleasure tends to be short-lived. Experiences, on the other hand, become part of who you are. They create memories that appreciate rather than depreciate over time. Third, use your wealth to help others. There's a special joy that comes from using your resources to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Whether it's supporting causes you believe in, helping family members achieve their dreams, or creating opportunities for those less fortunate, giving brings a depth of satisfaction that self-focused spending never can. Fourth, recognize that wealth can enhance happiness, but it can't create it. Happiness comes from within, from your mindset, your relationships, your sense of purpose, and your daily habits. Wealth is a tool that can make life easier and open up possibilities, but it's not a substitute for these deeper sources of well-being. Fifth, understand that the pursuit of wealth and the pursuit of happiness require many of the same qualities: discipline, persistence, courage, creativity, and a willingness to learn and grow. By developing these qualities, you set yourself up for success in both areas. Let me share a story that illustrates these principles. I once knew a man who started with nothing. He grew up in poverty, didn't finish high school, and had every reason to believe that success was for other people, not for him. But he had one thing that set him apart, a philosophy that empowered rather than limited him. He believed that his circumstances didn't determine his destiny, that he could learn what he needed to learn, that he could become the person he needed to become to create the life he wanted. And with that philosophy, he began his journey. He started by educating himself. He read books, attended seminars, and sought out mentors. He worked harder on himself than he did on his job. He developed new skills, new habits, and a new mindset. And as he grew, his income grew. He lived below his means and invested the difference. He started small businesses on the side. He took calculated risks and learned from his failures. And over time, he built substantial wealth. But here's what's interesting. Along the way, he discovered that the same principles that were creating wealth in his life were also creating happiness. The discipline that helped him save and invest also helped him maintain his health. The courage that helped him take business risks also helped him build meaningful relationships. The creativity that helped him solve business problems also helped him find purpose and meaning. Today, he's not just wealthy, he's happy and fulfilled. He uses his resources to create experiences with his family, to help others, and to make a difference in his community. He's not defined by what he has, but by who he's become and what he gives. That's the kind of success I wish for each of you, success that encompasses both wealth and happiness. That's built on solid principles, and that contributes to the lives of others. Let me leave you with this thought. The journey to wealth and happiness isn't about reaching a destination. It's about becoming the kind of person who can create and sustain both. It's about developing the character, the habits, and the mindset that naturally attract abundance in all its forms. Don't focus just on what you want to have. Focus on who you need to become. Don't just pursue external success. Pursue internal growth. Don't just accumulate possessions. Accumulate wisdom, experiences, and relationships. Remember, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. And when you commit to that process of growth and transformation, you set in motion forces that can change your life in ways you can't even imagine. The secrets of wealth and happiness aren't really secrets at all. They're timeless principles that have been known and practiced by successful, fulfilled people throughout history. They're available to anyone willing to learn them and apply them consistently. They're available to you. So I challenge you, start today. Start now. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect circumstance. Begin with one small step in the right direction. Read a book. Save a little money. Express gratitude. Reach out to someone you care about. Invest in yourself. Give something valuable to others. Each small step creates momentum. Each positive action builds on the previous one. Each day of consistent effort brings you closer to the wealth and happiness you desire. You have everything you need to begin. You have the capacity to learn, to grow, to change, to create. You have potential within you that's never been tapped, abilities that have never been stretched, possibilities that have never been explored. The question isn't whether you can achieve wealth and happiness. The question is whether you will make the choices necessary to achieve them. The question is whether you will commit to the process of becoming the person who can create the life you want. I believe you can. I believe you will. Because the desire you feel right now, the desire for a better life, a life of abundance and fulfillment, that desire isn't just a wish or a want. It's a seed that's been planted within you. A seed that can grow into reality if you nurture it with the right thoughts, the right actions, and the right persistence. Water that seed. Feed it, protect it, watch it grow. And one day, perhaps sooner than you think, you'll look around and realize that you've created the wealth and happiness you've been seeking all along. The journey won't always be easy. There will be obstacles and setbacks. There will be doubts and fears. There will be those who tell you it can't be done. But remember this, the challenges you face aren't meant to defeat you. They're meant to define you. They're not meant to stop you, they're meant to strengthen you. They're not meant to limit your possibilities. They're meant to expand your potential. Embrace those challenges, learn from them, grow through them, and keep moving forward one step at a time toward the wealth and happiness that can be yours. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. You don't have to know everything to begin, but you have to begin to know what you need to know. You don't have to be perfect to make progress, but you have to make progress to move toward perfection. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And day by day, step by step, you'll build a life of true wealth and genuine happiness. Remember, wealth isn't just money in the bank, it's having the resources to live life on your terms. And happiness isn't just a feeling, it's a way of being, a way of engaging with life that brings fulfillment, meaning, and joy. Both are within your reach. Both are possible for you. Both can be yours if you're willing to apply the principles we've discussed today. So go forth with confidence and courage. Go forth with determination and discipline. Go forth with the knowledge that your future is not determined by your past, your potential is not limited by your current circumstances, and your possibilities are as vast as your willingness to pursue them. The secrets of wealth and happiness are in your hands. Use them wisely, use them consistently, and use them to create a life that reflects the best of who you are and who you can become. Thank you for your attention, your engagement, and your commitment to growth. The fact that you're here, listening to these words, tells me that you're already on the path to wealth and happiness. Keep going, keep growing, keep becoming, and watch as your life transforms in ways that amaze and inspire you. Remember, it's not what happens to you that determines your destiny, it's what you do about what happens. It's not the conditions of your life that shape your future, it's your decisions. It's not what you have that matters most, it's who you become. Become the person who creates wealth through value. Become the person who creates happiness through wisdom. Become the person who lives with purpose, gives with generosity, and grows with intentionality. That's the path to wealth and happiness. That's the journey worth taking. That's the life worth living. And it begins now with you, with the choices you make today, tomorrow, and every day that follows. Choose wisely, act boldly, and persist relentlessly. The wealth and happiness you seek are waiting for you to claim them.